Welcome again to another, we called it Hangouts in the old days. Now, let's say it that this is a webinar. Uh, the three musketeers are here back again, Sophie, Peter, and myself, and we are talking about changes. We are always talking about changes, but this time is a change that is basically in the moment that we are. It's August in the Northern Hemisphere. It's a holiday time. Not for you, Peter, because you are from Australia, so you should be working. Because so over there, it's a normal month of work, I suppose, because it's the holidays. You do the summer holidays in things like December. That Christmas in the beach, it's rather strange, but that hasn't changed. Christmas can be still on the beach in Australia, but today we are going to talk about the 9 changes to the holiday experience, to the holidays experience, to better say. So let's start by the ladies. Sophie, what is your change that you think that will happen to the holidays experience?
Yeah, well, in Sweden, most people have 3 or 4 or 5 weeks off in July, mostly. So we already have had our heavy period of holidays. So I just heard on the radio this morning that camper and camper vans have increased. The number of registered campers have increased by 38% from July last year. I have my daughter here, so she's joining.
He was very silent.
Yeah. So it's really busy with everyone who's selling campers and camper vans. They are really, really busy. And I've noticed that we had some friends here visiting, and they had problems to find a space in a normal camping. There was no spaces left. So they were living a night in our parking space here outside our house, which of course it's okay. We welcome all our friends with campers, camper vans, and everything there. But it's just quite interesting how this popular trend became so Corona influenced by 38% more vans registered.
Yeah, I saw in some shops that selling tents, it's like they are selling like bread, basically. So, Peter.
Yeah, building on that, I think the whole COVID focus around the planet has meant that people become less relaxed around strangers, and often when you go on holidays, you are coming into contact with strangers, whether it's airports or busy resorts and so on. So building on what Sophie said, I think people are going to seek locations away from crowds, which can be challenging in densely populated countries. I mean, it's different in Australia. We have hundreds or thousands of miles of beaches where you wouldn't see a single person. And so I think, but countries like the UK or Portugal and I guess Sweden are more densely populated. And so it will be a challenge, but people will want to find ways they can go somewhere where there's less people around.
Yeah. I think my change is that I agree with that people are afraid of crowds, but at the same time, I would say that this is we have to see it in time. So basically, it will be like this. For the short term, people will be like, oh, crowds. But there is this kind of eager of returning to the normal.
Yes.
To go to, so, but the change will be that everybody will be much more demanding of events that have crowds. So if there is a crowd, it should be because there is let's say, an added value for having a crowd. So going to a crowded beach doesn't give you added value, only gives you problems. But going to, let's say, to a music festival where your tribe is there, you need to have this added value of the experience of the crowd. So people will be, let's say, a kind of crowd gourmets. So picking crowd experiences. So Sophie, your second one.
Yes, of course. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Yes. Good. Yeah, well, I live in a landscape called Halland, and it's on the west coast of Sweden. It's quite small, and about 300,000 people live here. And I've noticed, well, one of the things that happened due to Corona was that the council, the region here, they created a new app to help everyone to find places to go. So you don't only go to where the most popular sightseeing, the events that you can do normally. They also sort of, if you want to eat ice cream, you go into the app and see, okay, I want to eat ice cream, and they look at your location and they give you lots of alternatives to go to eat ice cream. So maybe it's worked. I don't know. They haven't really analyzed it yet, but it's an interesting move to sort of make all places where you can go available in that way in an app, where we are an app society. So I think it's a smart thing to do, and it could have been done without Corona, but now it's used. And also there are lots of homecations, staycations groups on Facebook, and there is like a company that's been bringing up this quite seriously, and they have one for each region in Sweden. So they have like a group on Facebook which is national, and then they have small local groups where you can give each other lots of tips about trips and sightseeing and whatever you can do. And they have a moderator in each group, so they have monetized this somehow, and I've never heard about the owners before. So some new people just made this possible.
She is very eager to participate.
Yes.
Peter, your second one.
Okay. I think people will appreciate things more because, particularly coming from Australia to the UK, and people just expect to be able to go on holidays. They jump on an aeroplane, doesn't cost them very much. They can be in Spain or Portugal or Scandinavia or France. Sorry?
Portugal before.
Yeah, back in the old days. So they could be anywhere within a couple of hours. You could be anywhere, which to an Australian is an amazing concept. And I think people just started to take that for granted. And now that it's been taken away from them to some extent, I think when you get some normality, as in what people were used to back, they really, really appreciate it more than ever. On the Sunday, my son's just moved out of home again to a lovely little town not far from where he works, and we went up on Sunday to visit him to see where he's living, and it's a beautiful place. And we went for a walk along the river, and there were children playing in the park and families. It was a beautiful day, and we didn't see anybody wearing masks, and it was this almost moments of normality because it was just a really lovely. And then we went out for dinner, which was the first time we'd been out for dinner for 4 months. And we went to this beautiful little restaurant, and they were much more relaxed there. They took a few basic precautions, but they were much more relaxed. And it was just such a delightful thing that in the past we would have, no big deal, but now we really appreciate it.
Yeah. That's taking a taste of small pleasures, things that we, for us, were completely normal, that we would not give any importance. I think another trend will be virtual tourism, because the next 2-3 years we will see that a lot of flight connections will disappear. So this kind of idea that it will be easy to go from place to place, it will not be so easy, and it might be much more expensive because of taking different routes, and also people will not be very comfortable at some point. So I see a lot of YouTube channels appearing with 4K visits, and even getting a completely immersion of being on the streets of. So like you are walking down. So it's like this movie of Arnold Schwarzenegger that he went to Mars virtually, but he didn't know if it was virtually or if it was real. So because it was so immersive. So I think virtual tourism will be a trend to see in the next years, traveling through the eyes of others. Sophie, your last one.
Yes. Now I've seen a trend that all trips that you are going to make needs to be planned last minute. And we're looking at the local weather. We are looking at restrictions from the governments. And if there is something new, any news about the area you're going to. And the future of tickets need to be rebookable. And we have relatives in Norway, and we have friends in Denmark, and it's been different rules whether you can go or not, and how long you have to stay in quarantine at home when you have been to Sweden. And there are like a few places in Sweden you can go to, but there are others where you can, and it's been really confusing. So probably someone is going to develop an app about this as well, so you can easily follow the latest rules, the law, and the guidelines that are in the area you're going to. But it's been really confusing, and we are, of course, Sweden is a country where the weather can be amazing and it can be awful in July, and you get really dependent on this information and whether you should go or stay, or is it worth it or not. And I think everyone is going to make a decision like a few days before. And to do that, you need to be able to rebook and book tickets quite, with a short span of time before. So the whole holiday industry needs to be more flexible.
Yeah, I agree totally. I'm now in Spain. It looks like a coffee shop in Spain, but it's not a coffee shop in Spain. It's somewhere in the world. This is virtual. I'm not here, and I had to check everything, and the news change every day. So once it's with mask, another is without mask. So it's really you need to be completely updated. So Peter, your last one.
Yeah. Sophie mentioned it before, but I think staycations will increase. I think people will remain in their own country more and discover things they didn't know were right there, because they're always going to other countries. And certainly this week in the UK, so many people had their holidays cancelled overseas. So everything got booked all over the country, any hotels or anything people would take up. So I think that will happen more. And I think if air travel becomes more stressful, because we already, after 9/11, we had all the extra security checks, and it's so painful, taking so long. And now it's going to be even more stringent. Even traveling, overseas will be not as fun or relaxing as it used to be. And people will think twice about whether they even want to do it. So that's what I think will happen more. And that fits with your concept of the virtual travel. And I was really interested in Sophie's thing around that last minute flexibility. And it'll be a nightmare for the airlines and the hotels and everything. But perhaps technology will help a little bit. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting topic.
In a way, there are some people that say that planes are buses with wings. So when we go to buy a ticket for a bus, we don't buy it 3 months in advance. So So basically, there is something that we have to get used with this. And my last one, I think there is a trend of trying to combine holiday with health and well-being, because if something is telling us about this pandemic is that the ones that are more vulnerable to this kind of situations are the ones that are in a weak situation, physical, and I was reading that in the UK, Boris Johnson now is advising people to lose weight. What is funny coming from him, because he was seen always like a huge man, but
he's lost weight himself, like you.
Sorry?
But like you, he's lost weight.
Yeah. So, but I didn't need to go to ICU, ECR, intensive cares unit to understand that. So now I think this is an opportunity also for people to think about tourism as a moment to recover and to release stress, and not to eat like hell to bring the extra holiday kilos to the job. So today we were very, very fast and very concise, and this is very good. So anything else that you want to add, my friends? So if that's the case, if nothing more to add, thank you very much, Peter, Sophie, for another very interesting reflection. Because what we do here is we reflect about subjects. We have, in our views, intelligent conversation, and we make some points for you also to think. So keep in touch. We will be doing this like we have been doing for the last almost 7 years. Imagine, time has passed. We do it more or less every month, and in 7 years, so we did a lot already. Thank you very much, and see you soon, and keep safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.